Chapter 4 Ability Level. When abilities were first introduced to the human race, people quickly learned that some were far more powerful than others. With this came the introduction of the power level system. There was a total of 8 different power levels, 1 being the weakest and 8 being the strongest. These levels could also be further divided into 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 all the way to 1.9, and it was the same for each level. There were 2 ways for people to obtain abilities. When the war started with the Daki race, people started to share their powers with the outside world. They wrote down how they obtained this power and put the information down in things called ability books. These ability books went on for sale to the public, and the military kept some of the stronger ones to themselves. Generally, ability books from level 1 to 5 were sold to the public, while giant corporations and the military kept the higher ones to themselves. The second way to obtain an ability was if you were an original. Originals were the first people who had originally discovered the powers for themselves and decided to pass it down within their family. Not all ability users chose to share their abilities to the outside world and decided to keep it within their bloodline. Originals usually had the strongest abilities that went beyond level 8. There was no way for the government to measure its power because it wasn't public knowledge. Because of these 2 reasons, Quinn had always been a level 1. He had no family members to support him, so he couldn't afford an ability book, and his family had no abilities themselves, so he wasn't an original. When Quinn had obtained the book, his first guess was that it was some time of an ability book. Now after all these years, it seemed like he had obtained an ability. But he had never heard of an ability book like this before, and he didn't have a clue what power level it had given him. Quinn lifted up his hand to look at the watch, which indicated his current power level was 1. When he looked around, he noticed that everyone else's watches currently indicated the same number. Griff was currently standing in front of all the students and called names in groups of 5. These students would then be transported somewhere to take the test. Quinn was hopeful at first, thinking that he might have been able to change his ability level for once, but his mind was quickly changed after receiving a notification. You are being hit by direct sunlight. All stats will be halved. Quinn didn't even know how good 10 strength, 10 agility, and 10 stamina was, but if his eyesight was anything to go by, then it would mean it was at least the top condition of a normal human being. But right now Quinn felt incredibly weak and sluggish. His body felt extremely hot right now, and he was sweating buckets of water. Quinn thought it was a good thing he drank a load of water beforehand, otherwise he would have been extremely dehydrated. "Hey, are you okay?" a stranger standing next to Quinn said. The stranger's name was Vorden. He had slick blonde hair and hazel green eyes with a chiseled face and sharp jawline. He also stood 6 foot 2 inches tall, while Quinn was 5'11". This was the type of person Quinn would usually avoid at his last shawl, as everyone would always pay them attention and Quinn hated attention. "If you want, I can call someone for help," Vorden said. "It's okay, I'm just a little bit nervous about the testing," Quinn said as he tried to ignore his tired body and stand up straight. Vorden looked Quinn up and down. Quinn was quite skinny for his age and didn't have a lot of muscle on him, and right now he looked incredibly weak. Vorden thought Quinn looked like the type of boy who would have gotten bullied at school, and it was the reason why Quinn was nervous. If he was to get a level 1 rating, most likely the same would happen here. "Well, don't be, I'm quite strong, you know. If anyone messes with you, you can come and ask me for help." Vorden smiled. Quinn didn't usually get on with the energetic, positive type of person, but Quinn found it hard to dislike Vorden. When Quinn thought about his time back at school, he realized he actually didn't get on with anyone. "The name's Vorden," Vorden said as he placed his hand out. Quinn looked at Vorden's hand. It was actually the first time in his life someone had treated him this way, but Quinn thought that would quickly change. They always did once they found out his ability level, but for once he would like to forget about all that. "My name's Quinn," Quinn said as he shook Vorden's hand. "Use of ability has been detected. The ability has been rejected." Once the system messages appeared, Quinn looked at them strangely. At the same time, He shook Vorden's hand. The messages came up instantly. He then noticed that Vorden still hadn't let go of his hand. Then the system repeated the message once again. Use of ability had been detected. The ability had been rejected. Quinn then immediately let go of Vorden's hand. The system was clearly telling him that Vorden was trying to use his ability on him. Vorden himself even had a puzzled look on his face as he stood there still. Vorden said, "What is your ability?" Quinn paused, thinking for a while whether he should answer or not. In the end, he wanted to see Vorden's true reaction. "I don't have an ability." Vorden no longer had a puzzled look on his face, as if the answer had satisfied the curiosity of his. But before Vorden could say anything, Griff had made an announcement. "Will the students, Quinn Talon, Vorden Blade, Peter Chuck, Layla Munro, and Aaron Hala please come to the front to take your test?"